True, that is the nature of a devotee. Either in waking or in sleep, a devotee Lord can never be free from thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. Thus the devotee of Krishna can conquer both sleep and ignorance simply by thinking of Krishna constantly. This is called Krishna consciousness or samadhi. As Rishikesh, or the director of the senses and mind of every living entity, Krishna could understand Arjuna's purpose in placing the chariot in the midst of the armies. Thus he did so and spoke as follows. So Arjuna conquered over sleep and ignorance. So Yogin Nidra Devi got the benediction wherever the Bhagavatam is spoken, that she can be present. That's why you see people sleeping in Bhagavatam class. Because we're supposed to conquer over sleep. You're not supposed to sleep in the Bhagavatam class or Bhagavad Gita, any class. But sometimes it's difficult to stay awake. But if you can't stay awake, then you should stand up. Also, when we change japa, its tendency is to fall asleep because if we don't have a real taste for the holy name, we start nodding out and we start chanting at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and after half an hour, we only got 1 or 2 rounds chanted. We can't figure out what happened. So somebody asked Prabhupada, what should we do if we can't? If we're sleeping during japa, he said, do as I do. You should walk. There's one video, Prabhupada in LA, in his room in LA, where he's chanting japa, walking back and forth. So if you have that problem, staying awake during japa, then you should don't sit down. Don't tell your rascal mind will say, today I'm not gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna sit down and chant attentively, and then you sit down and fall asleep. So you don't listen to your rascal mind. Use your intelligence and say, no, I'm not gonna sit down. I'm gonna chant my rounds walking. That way I'll be more attentive. Text number 25. Bhishma Drona Pamukataha Bhishma Drona Pamukata Sarvesham Cha Mahi Sitam Vacha Partha Paschaitam Sambhavetam Kurun Iti Bhishma Drona Pamukata Sarvesham Cha Mahi Sitam Vacha Partha Paschaitam Sambhaveta Kuru iti
Bhishma Dona Pramukata Sarvesham Cha Mahichitam Vacha Partha Paschaitam Sama Etan Kuruniti Bhishma Dona Pramukata Sarvesham Cha Mahichitam Vacha Partha Paschaitam Samavetam Kuruniti Bhishmadona Pramukataha Sarvesham Chamaisitam Vachapata Pashitam
Word for word. Bhishma, grandfather Bhishma. Drona, the teacher Drona. Pramukata, in front of. Sarvisham, all. Cha, also. Mahi Sitam, chiefs of the world. Uvacha, said. Partha, a son of Prita. Pasha, just behold. Etan, all of them. Samavetan, assembled. Kurun, the members of the Kuru dynasty. Iti, thus. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Purport. As the super soul of all living entities, Lord Krishna could understand what was going on in the mind of Arjuna. The use of the word Rishikesh in this connection indicates they knew everything. And the word Partha, or son of Kunti, or Prita, is also significant in reference to Arjuna. As a friend, he wanted to inform Arjuna that because Arjuna was the son of Prita, the sister of his own father, Vasudeva, he had agreed to be the charioteer of Arjuna. Now, what did Krishna mean when he told Arjuna, behold the Kurus? Did Arjuna want to stop there and not fight? Krishna never expected such a thing from the son of his aunt Prita. The mind of Arjuna was thus predicted by the Lord in friendly joking. Om Arganataram Dasya Jana Jana Slakaya Sakshu Vimitam Zaina Tasmei Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Vantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Saganatam Sagana Raganatam Tam Sajivam Savetam Savutam Prijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sadagana Aita Shri Vishakam Cha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapade Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kantam Naustute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Ishwari Vishabandhu Sute Devi Priyamani Ari Priye Vanchakopa Tirubhya Shah Kripa Sindhu Bevicha Parinam Pabnevyo Vaishnavyo Nano Naha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is Bhagavad Gita as it is. We're also on Radio Land FM 99 for those who are indisposed. The Burijan wrote one book, Surrender Unto Me. He commented on this verse, so we'll read that to give us some enlightenment. Hundreds of millions of warriors were in the Kuru armies. Yet Krishna drove Arjuna's chariot directly before Bhishma and Drona. In that way, Krishna forced Arjuna to see that both his grandfather and his guru were determined to oppose him in battle. Krishna thus drew out Arjuna's familial attachments so that he could speak Bhagavad Gita. Krishna was teasing Arjuna. It's only Kurus on both sides who are assembled. Sri Baldev Vijayabhushan adds this explanation of Krishna's words. Because you're the son of my father's sister, I'm going to serve you, serve as your chariot driver. But now you're about to abandon your desire to fight. Thus Krishna jokingly implied, what's the use of looking at the enemy's army? In this way, Krishna affirmed the thought in Arjuna's mind. Arjuna described this scene to Dhritarashtra, then mentioned family members, others whom Arjuna sees before him. Translation once again. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, all the chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. So this battle, this Bhagavad Gita was written by Srila Vyasadeva, is included in the Mahabharata. And after Srila Vyasadeva compiled all the Vedas, he wrote the Mahabharata for the Sudras and low-class people, because generally people are not very much interested in philosophy, but they like to hear stories. It's more interesting. So, yes, they've compiled the Mahabharata, and in the 5th chapter, the Bhagavad Gita was part of the Mahabharata. Unfortunately, those people were not devotees. Krishna says, Bhakti Mama Bhajanti, only by devotional service can I be understood. So if non-devotees, they make movies, Mahabharata, and write books about Mahabharata, but they don't understand who Krishna is. They only think Krishna is just a great personality or something like that. So they can't give the real meaning of Mahabharata or Bhagavad Gita. And even I saw one video, Mahabharata, Krishna and Arjuna were speaking. Krishna was speaking to Arjuna on the battlefield, and there was conversation between Krishna and Arjuna which didn't make any sense. And then Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna, and that was the end of the Bhagavad Gita. So they can't understand this, even if you're not a devotee. Even the first 6 chapters and the last 6 chapters deal with karma and jnana, but the middle 6 chapters mainly deal with bhakti. Bhakti, bhakti mama bhajananti. So, it's not an easy thing. Understand Bhagavad Gita is not an easy thing. If you're a devotee, even for devotees, it's not so easy to understand how all the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita are meant to bring us to Sarvadharma Prikshaja, Mamekam Charanam Raja, meant to bring us to surrender to Krishna. And this is the real purpose of Bhagavad Gita, nothing else. If you go in a bookstore anywhere in the world, you'll find there's 20, 30 translations of Bhagavad Gita, but those people who gave translations of Bhagavad Gita were not devotees and were materially motivated for their own self-interest. So Prabhupada says, why are they They should not stick their nose in other people's business. In other words, if one's not a pure devotee of Krishna, then they shouldn't try to make commentaries on Bhagavad Gita or other devotional literatures, because they'll be misguided, mislead the people in the wrong way. It's like they say the Balaku, etc., is the body, and the 5 Pandavas is the senses, and the horse and this and that. They give some wrong interpretation, some speculation, armchair speculators. They give some bogus interpretation of Bhagavad Gita, and generally if you read another Bhagavad Gita, you won't even understand that Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. You don't even understand that, anything else, which is the whole Bhagavad Gita. But not only this middle 6 chapters, but all the chapters bring us to the understanding that Bhakti is the highest. Yoginam api sarvesham. Krishna says of all yogis that the Bhakti yogi is the highest of all. So first, before the battle of Kurukshetra, Vyasadeva went to see Dhritarashtra. He said to Dhritarashtra, I can give you divine eyes so you can see the battle. But Dhritarashtra, he refused. He said, no, I know all my sons are going to be killed in the battle, and we're not going to win the battle, so I don't want to see that. So then Vyasadeva told Sanjaya. Sanjaya was the servant or secretary of Dhritarashtra. So he told Sanjaya that I'll give you divine eyes to see. So Prabhupada spoke on this verse 24, 20, on first in London. He did a series of lectures on the Bhagavad Gita, first chapter. And he said that this Sanjaya was getting the vision to see. It was like a television, transcendental television. So Sanjaya was able to witness the whole battle of Kurukshetra, even be right there in the palace of Dhritarashtra. So then he also gave Sanjaya the benediction that he will not be harmed if he was on the battlefield. And so Sanjaya went to the battle. When the battlefield started, after 10 days, Grandfather Bhishma fell on the battlefield on a bed of arrows. His whole body was covered with arrows. He was laying on arrows. So Sanjaya saw all that. Then he came back to Dhritarashtra and started to narrate the accounts of the whole battle of Kurukshetra. So before the battle started, they made some conditions. The Kshatriyas didn't just fight like they do today, but there were some conditions. First, that the chariot drivers could only fight with the chariot drivers, the horse soldiers could only fight with the horse soldiers, the foot soldiers could only fight with the foot soldiers. And also, if anyone was going to fight with an individual, first he had to make a verbal challenge. So this was and also those who were not fighting, supplying the weapons, supplying the food and water, those people were not to be included in the battle. They were not to be harmed. So these are the conditions that were made. So Sanjaya saw this, saw the whole thing and narrated it to the Dhritarashtra. We know Dhritarashtra was blind. When Satyavati, who was had 2 daughters, but there was no heir to the throne because Pandu had an early death. Pandu was in the forest hunting, which kings do, and he pierced a deer but the deer was not actually a deer. It was a sage who was having sex with his wife to beget a child, but he didn't want him to be seen as a human being because he was embarrassed to do that in public. So he took the body of a deer, and his wife took the body of a deer. So the sage cursed Pandu that whenever you try to have sex with a woman, you will die. So Pandu was very strict and followed that principle. But then one time he was in the forest with Madri, and lusty desires, he was overcome by lusty desires, and he had sex with Madri and he died. So there was no heir to the throne. So Satyavati was the daughter of a fisherman. Is that the name, right? She was the daughter of the fisherman, and she would, as a service, take people across the Yamuna in a boat. Parasara Muni was on the boat. He was taking him across the river. When he got to the middle, he was attracted to her. He said, "I want to give you a child." She said, no, I'm a virgin. I can't do that. He said, "Well, I won't disturb your virginity." And he created a cloud, and he created an island. And then by some mystic power, he impregnated her, and Srila Vyasadeva was born. And then when the boat got to the other side of the river, he immediately grew up, and he told his mother that if you just think of me, then I'll come and help you. So there was 2 daughters, but there was no heir to the throne. So she called Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva came, but he didn't have time to look presentable. He was doing austerities in the Himalayas, and he had matted hair, and he was dirty and nothing, very unpleasant smell. So when he went to impregnate the first daughter, she closed her eyes. As a result, Dhritarashtra was born blind. So he couldn't occupy the throne. So then he went to the second daughter, and when she saw Vyasadeva, she became pale out of fear. So Pandu was born pale. But he was able to take the throne, but he had died at an early age. And then they sent this first wife again to Vyasadeva, but she was so upset about seeing Vyasadeva that she sent a maidservant and replaced her place. As a result, Vidura was born. And Vidura was Yamaraj, but he got cursed by a sage. So because Yamaraj is always busy punishing the sinful people, so he doesn't have time to preach. So Yamaraj wanted to preach in Krishna's pastimes, so he came as Vidura. So this is a little how it all started. So Prabhupada didn't talk much about that. He talked about the nature in this material world, and about science, about different things. So in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, Bhumir apo nayo vayu kama mano buddhir eva cha hankara ityam me bina prakriti astada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, all together, these 8 comprise by separated material energies. So Krishna is called Rishikesh. He's the master of the senses. He's the master of all the material energies. They come from Krishna. It's not as material scientists say that life comes from matter. but we don't agree with that. We challenge them, we say, we'll give you all the matter. If a person dies, we'll give you the chemicals, you bring that person back to life. They say, well, we can't do that now, but we'll do it in the future. So they always start their lectures, the scientists always say, perhaps and maybe, and we're not sure, and then they give them a Nobel Prize. So they are simply bluffing, armchair speculators bluffing, that they know so much, and people accept them as authority. But we know we don't accept the scientists as authority, because they don't know anything about the soul. It's like Darwin theory of evolution is taught in all the schools, but Darwin didn't know anything about the soul. So his theory is wrong from the very start. As if you have a bank balance and you make a mistake on your balance at the beginning of the month, it's always going to be wrong. So Darwin didn't know anything about the soul, so his theory can never be right. He said man, evolved this from lower species to higher species, and then man came from monkeys. But there's so many monkeys in Vrindavan, I haven't seen one man come from a monkey yet. I'm still waiting. Have you seen any monkeys carrying a man around? Baby man, baby child? No. So we don't accept these things. So, in the previous verse, Krishna is called Rishikesh, and Nectar Devotion says, Sevopadi vinirmuktam taparvena nirvalam Rishikesh Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchite. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, Supreme Personality Godhead, the Master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Lord, there are two side effects. One is free from all material designations, and simply by being employed in the service of the Lord, one's senses are purified. So, this is very important in devotional service. Prabhupada says in one purport, 4th chapter, that over and above chanting Hare Krishna, one must control his senses. And we know that controlling the senses, when we take prasadam, we say sarara vijijal, that all the sense, the tongue is most voracious and difficult to control. So even if the belly is full, the tongue is saying, no, I want to eat more, give me more and more and more, then we eat too much. When the tongue wants to talk nonsense things, or wants to talk about mundane things, when we should only talk about Krishna, Krishna Katha. Sometimes we try to read Srimad Bhagavatam, you may get a little sleepy, but when you hear some news in the material world, immediately we perk up. When we hear that there was an earthquake here, or there was a tornado here, or this many people died, or there's a war over here, then we immediately take interest. But it should be the other way around. We should be more interested in hearing Krishna Katha and less interested in hearing Gramya Katha. And Lord Chaitanya instructed Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami met Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, and he put him under the care of Swarup Damodar. But Raghunath Das then one day inquired from Lord Chaitanya anyway. So Lord Chaitanya told him 3 things. Don't dress luxuriously, don't eat opulent food, and don't talk or hear Gramya Katha, village talk, or ordinary subject matters. So this also applies to devotees. Of course, we have to dress properly because we're in the public eye and we're preaching, so we can't follow that too strictly, but we should at least wear clean clothes. It doesn't have to be opulent, but it should be nice and for preaching. And opulent food stuff, we should, on a daily basis, just eat simple food. But on feast days, we can take feasts, but we shouldn't take feasts regularly, because that'll be difficult for us to control the senses. And also, we should take prasadam at regulated times. You wake up in the morning at 4 o'clock, whatever time, you may feel hungry, but that does not mean you can go and eat something. No, you should wait till after Bhagavatam class is finished, and then prasadam's at 9 o'clock. So even if you feel hungry, shouldn't it satisfy that urge just because you're hungry? But as long as it doesn't make you don't have a disease or something where you have to eat. Some people have diabetes, they have to eat at unregulated times. But otherwise, we should eat at regulated times, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, something at night. And Prabhupada also said in the yoga system, lectures that one should not eat at night. Especially if you eat a heavy meal at night, then you'll dream a lot and you won't get proper sleep, and the next day you won't feel refreshed and have a hard time chanting japa. So this is the way we can control our senses, by speaking only about Krishna, only taking Krishna prasadam. This is the way we can control our tongue. And this is important, and we shouldn't get too much absorbed in looking at the computer, looking at the internet, looking at this and that. So it's easy to get distracted. So many things are there that we don't want to see, but we get curious. You get curious, what's this, what's that, and you want to look at it. Spend so much time wasting your time, and you can use that same time to be reading Prabhupada's books or hearing Prabhupada's lectures or doing kirtan or other things. So Prabhupada says we don't watch television, we don't go to movies. Of course, there was no internet when Prabhupada wrote his books, but he would have also included that as one of the things we shouldn't do. Of course, there's many Krishna conscious things that we can see, and which we like to see, different preaching programs where thousands of people come for kirtan, like the Woodstock Festival, or someplace in Ukraine, they have a big festival. All over Russia, all over the world, there's some kirtan mela going on that we like to see. And people are chanting and dancing, and people that never chanted and danced before are chanting and dancing, and when preaching is going on. So these things are there. So Nirbandhan Krishna Sambandha Yukta Vairagya Uchite. So it says, everything can be utilized in the service of Krishna. So it's not condemned to have a laptop computer, to have a cell phone. These things are not condemned if we use them in the service of Krishna. But if we get deviated from the service of Krishna, then we shouldn't use them. So in this way, Krishna agreed to be the chariot driver of Arjuna. Now we know, if you read the stories in Krishna book, who's the first person that gets killed in the battle? That's the chariot driver. He can't fight, he's riding a chariot. That's the most dangerous position. It's not a safe position. First they kill the horses, then they kill the chariot driver, then they break the flag, then they break the chariot, then the warrior has to get down from his chariot, then they fight hand to hand or club to club. So, chariot driver is not a very safe position. But Krishna, of course, no one can kill Krishna. And Krishna is doing this by his Yogamaya potency. he accepted this role as the Arjuna's chariot driver because Arjuna was his friend. He was also his cousin, because it says here that he's dressed as Prithu because his mother was Kunti, the sister of Vasudeva, Krishna's father. So not only were they friends, but they were relatives also. So, so the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on the fact that Arjuna doesn't want to fight. Even though he's a Kshatriya and it's his duty to fight, he didn't want to fight because it's with his family members. You can understand that no one wants to fight with their family members. But, it happens all the time. You go to Loy Bazaar, one shop on one side is one person, and his brother's got a shop on the other side. So they couldn't work together. And you go to the end of Loy Bazaar, one side man makes Murti Wala, and the other side, on the left side of Murti Wala, and the right side is Murti Wala, and they're brothers. But they couldn't work together, so they made their own shops. So even today, that problem's there. So here we have a fight, the Battle of Kurukshetra is between two families. Between the same families. When the Pandavas were born, Duryodhana immediately became inimical toward the Pandavas because of their strength and popularity. When they were children, Bhima used to play with the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra and defeat them all. He could grab 10 of them at one time and throw them in the water or something, wrestle with them. So Duryodhana was envious of the 5 Pandavas. From the very beginning, he tried to kill them. He fed poison. He gave poison cake to Bhima. And Bhima ate that poison and fell unconscious. Then he rolled into the water. There was a river there. Maybe it was the Ganges or Yamuna. And as he was falling in the water, underneath the water, these snakes came and bit him, which counteracted the poison. And then they gave him some elixir, which gave him tremendous bodily strength. So the other Pandavas, they went back to their capital, and they couldn't understand what happened to Bhima. But then after 3 days, he came back. So in this way, Duryodhana, he put the Pandavas in so many difficulties. He put them in a house of lack. So they were out of the city at touring, and they came to one city, and they were given a house. And Vidura knew the secret that his house was made of lack. I think it was Vidura. Anyway, he sent him a message in code that this house is made of lack, and you should make arrangements so you can escape easily. So they built an underground tunnel. So when the house was set on fire, the Pandavas, Kunti and the 5 brothers, they all escaped under a tunnel. But at the same time, one Sudra lady and her sons, 5 sons, had gone into the house and they were intoxicated and they fell asleep. Of course, the Pandavas, they didn't know that, but they got burned up in the fire. So everyone thought the Pandavas were dead, but they weren't. And also, when they were in the forest, Duryodhana sent Durvasa Muni with his 60,000 disciples to take prasadam. And he knew that Draupadi had a benediction from the sun god that she could feed anyone prasadam as much as they wanted until she ate. And as long as she didn't take prasadam, she could supply as much food as possible. So he sent Rasa Muni just after Draupadi had taken her prasadam. So they told Rasa Muni, you go take your men, you go and take a bath, when you come back, we'll give you some prasadam. So they didn't know what to do, so they called Krishna to help them. So they looked in the pots, there was nothing in the pots. So Krishna said, just give me something, anything. They found one leaf, one palak, one spinach leaf. Krishna ate that. And because Krishna ate that, Durvasa Muni, all his men, all of a sudden they felt full, like they eaten a big feast. So they got embarrassed. And then when they went to call them to come take prasadam, they had gone away. So they knew that if Durvasa Muni had come and they didn't feed him properly, he would become angry and curse them. So these things were there, and then they had to fight off a Rakshasa. Bhima had to defeat one Rakshasa. So in so many ways, the Pandavas were put into so many problems. And Queen Kunti in her prayer, she says, let these calamities happen again and again, because by these calamities coming again and again, we're thinking of you again and again. So here also is described that Arjuna conquered over sleep, Rishikesh, because he's always thinking of Krishna. 9 process devotional snovers, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. So by hearing and chanting, then we remember. So if you remember Krishna, the 6 Goswamis, Atyahara, Hara, Shah, they conquered over eating and sleeping. They sleep. Raghunath Das Goswami would sleep for 90 minutes a day, and sometimes not even that. The other Goswamis also slept less, very little. And Raghunath Das Goswami would take 1 cup of chach every other day. So Raghunath Das Goswami and the 6 Goswamis, they all conquered over eating and sleeping, because it wasn't artificial, because they were always absorbed in the mood of the gopis, always in pure Krishna consciousness, always thinking of Krishna's name, form, qualities, pastimes. And Srila Prabhupada also, he wrote in one interview, someone asked him what his daily schedule was. And he said, I sleep 2 hours in the afternoon, 2 hours at night. And one time he was going to take rest in the afternoon. He said to his servant, it was a Harisari, or Shrutikirti, I don't know which one it was, but he said, now I'm going to waste my time. So even Prabhupada, he only slept 4 hours a day. But that also, we can't, it's difficult, can't do that. If you don't sleep enough, then you lose your intelligence. So we can't artificially do that. But if one is absorbed in Krishna consciousness, then we're not, we can give up the lower taste, Brahmdisvar Nivartante. By taking the Krishna consciousness, immediately we start to follow the 4 regular principles. No eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. So how can we do that? It's a miracle. The people are intoxicated on drugs. There's so many, in America, so many ways to have so many clinics to get people off of drugs. It's very difficult, especially if someone's on heroin or something, some strong drug. To stop taking drugs is not an easy thing. Even alcohol, people get addicted to alcohol. But when they come to Krishna consciousness, we start chanting Hare Krishna, we get a higher taste. And because we get a higher taste, we're no longer interested in lower taste. People think that these things, taking alcohol, taking intoxication, is giving me happiness. But the things in the beginning, they get happiness, but the end result is suffering. It's like when you take alcohol, it tastes terrible, it burns your stomach, and you get intoxicated, you lose your memory, you lose your intelligence, you can do all kinds of crazy things, and the next morning you wake up and you're sick, you got a headache and you got a hangover and you feel terrible, and you wonder why you did that. But people keep doing it over and over again because they think they're getting a higher taste. And in the beginning of the movement, the devotees would come to Prabhupada, ask him if I can get a spiritual experience by taking LSD. And Prabhupada said, no, LSD does not give you a spiritual experience, because anything material cannot give you a spiritual experience. So he made these 4 regulated principles we all have to follow. No eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. And by chanting Hare Krishna and by following the morning program, having good sadhana, and practicing Krishna consciousness, then we're no longer interested in the lower taste, material world, which is due to the mode of ignorance, passion, and ignorance. We're hearing in Bhagavad Gita class, even the demigods who are in the mode of goodness, still they have the enjoying spirit. Still they can't understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of their mixed devotees. They have material desires also, but they also perform devotional service. So, Anya Abhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmanavitam Anukunaya Krishnasno Bhakti Uttamam. So pure devotional service means no more gyan, no more karma, only pure devotional service, only service to Krishna, nothing else. 6 symptoms of surrender: accept everything favorable for Krishna, reject everything unfavorable, to know that Krishna is your protector, Krishna is your maintainer, to expect the mercy of Krishna, feel oneself meek and humble. So Krishna Das Kaviraj says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chunadapi Sunechana, Chorapi Sisana, Amanina Mandena, Kirtanya Sarari. This is one of the 8 verses of Lord Chaitanya spoke. He said we should take that verse along with the holy name and string it around our neck and wear it always. So if one is humble and free from false prestige, then we can chant 24 hours a day, like Haridas Thakur. Even when the prostitute came to Haridas Thakur in the dead of night, he told her that I'll satisfy all your desires, but I've made a vow to chant 300,000 names a day, so I have to finish my japa first. And of course, for most of us, if the prostitute came to us, we'd say, well, I'll finish my rounds later. But Haridas Thakur, he wasn't allured, and it happened 2 times he was tested. Once by a prostitute, once by Mahamaya, or material energy. But either way, he was not allured. Even in Bombay, when they were opening the temple, we were trying to get the land. Who was it? Yeah, who was the president? It was, who was the president? Yeah, Giriraj Swami. Giriraj Swami, Mr. Nair sent a prostitute to allure Giriraj Swami to make him fall down and give us a bad name. But Giriraj Swami wasn't withstand the test and wasn't allured. Then nothing happened. So in this way, is the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, observing the armies on the battlefield. We shouldn't think people criticize us, say, you're supposed to be nonviolent, but they hear the whole Bhagavad Gita is about a war. So how's that nonviolence? And Krishna dances with other people's wives in the middle of the night, which is immoral for a man to enjoy with other people's wives. But since Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if Krishna gave the order, because Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight, therefore there was nothing wrong with the battle of Kurukshetra. And because Krishna is never under the mode of passion and ignorance, he's never allured by material sense gratification. It's like the gopis, they wanted to feed the Rasamuni, who was across the Yamuna. But the Yamuna was very had many waves and there was no boat. So they asked Krishna, how can we get across the Yamuna? So Krishna said, you go to the Yamuna and say, Krishna is a brahmachari. So the gopis are surprised. How can Krishna be a brahmachari? He's always associating with us gopis, so many women. Anyway, they went to Yamuna. They said, Krishna's a brahmachari. And then Yamuna parted, and they walked across. And then they fed the Rasa Muni a big feast. He was fully satisfied. Then they wanted to go back to Krishna, but again they couldn't get across the Yamuna. So they asked the Rasa Muni, how can we get across the Yamuna? He said, well, you just say to Yamuna that the Rasa Muni never eats anything. He only eats dhruva grass. So they said, how's that possible? You just ate a big feast. Anyway, they went to Yamuna and they said the Rasa Muni only eats dhruva grass. And then Yamuna parted, they went back to Krishna. So anyway, the reason is that Krishna is a brahmachari because he's never agitated. He had 16,108 wives, but they thought he was a henpecked husband, but he wasn't attracted to any of them in the material sense. Krishna dancing with the gopis is like the difference between iron and gold or day and night. Has nothing to do with material sense gratification. The gopis' only desire was to please Krishna. Nothing material, it was all spiritual. And Bhagavad Gita says, Janma karma chame devyam evam yoveti tattva yaktva deham punarjana aiti mameti so arjuna. If one knows the pastimes of Krishna in truth, then he doesn't have to take birth again. So this is the true understanding. Krishna's pastimes are a transcendental spiritual platform, have nothing to do with this material world. So Krishna can't be immoral. Krishna telling Arjuna to fight is not is not violence. It was meant to rid the world of the demoniac nature. Krishna comes 5,000 years ago. He came to rid the burden of the earth. So by having this battle, etc., 640 million people were on the battlefield, and they were all killed. And Krishna fulfilled his desire of relieving the burden of the earth of sinful men. And so this was the desire of the Lord. And also, the Pandavas were also a burden of the earth. So Krishna had to arrange for their demise. That's there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Krishna has nothing to do with the material world. So the Bhagavad Gita says that the Bhagavad Gita contains all information is given, all the other scriptures in the world, plus more. So people are afraid of the Bhagavad Gita, but this month we're doing a marathon because in America they have a holiday called Christmas. Christians have a Christmas holiday. So on that holiday, the people are the tradition is to give someone a gift, give your family members, your friends gifts. So all the people have money, spend all their money, and go to the stores and shopping malls and buy all kinds of things to give gifts to people. So that time, the devotees were distributing books, and they saw these shopping malls were crowded with people, so it was easier, and people had money. So when people came out of the shops, we could distribute books to them. So we started this Christmas marathon because that time of the year was the best time to distribute books. The devotees would go off for 10, 12 hours a day and distribute many, many books to people because they had money and it was the best time to do that. So even in India we have a marathon. People don't celebrate Christmas in India, but we still have the book marathon. And India is always the #1 country in the world because even though we don't celebrate Christmas, but we still are able to distribute more books than any other country. And in Russia too, they distribute lots of books. All over the world, this is going on. So, from the very beginning to the end, the Bhagavad Gita, as it is meant to make us understand that we should surrender to Krishna and become Krishna's devotee, make our life successful, go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Anybody have questions, comments? No? Srila Prabhupada ki. Antaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki. Gaur Premanande.